Yakuza Like a Dragon is a low-budget action film released by Toei Company and SEGA in 2007. The film was written by Masashi Sogo and directed by Takashi Miike. Takashi Miike, as you should know, and if not, what's wrong with you, is one of Japanese cinema's most controversial and prolific filmmakers. His over-the-top violence and sexually perverse characters, but also his ability to direct compelling low-budget gang crime movies, made him the perfect candidate to direct Yakuza, even if he did have to tone it down for this one. Yakuza as a whole tends to suffer from trying to do too much while not actually fleshing out the main plot, relying on the audience either having played the game or at least seen the direct-to-video Like a Dragon prologue movie released the year before. There are 4 different storylines that rarely intersect with each other. At an hour and 50 minutes long, cutting some of these out would have helped the pacing of Kiryu's story, or perhaps replacing them entirely could have filled in some of the many plot holes the film suffers from. The soundtrack is fantastic and well used. You barely even notice there's a total of 3 songs in the movie that are played over and over, but they fit well enough. The fight scenes, on the other hand, is where this one really shines. Miike's always been a master of action, and Yakuza is no exception. It's full of amazing over-the-top fight scenes, but it can never decide if it wants to be exactly like the game or its own thing. Let's go over the film from the start. If you haven't seen the movie yet, I suggest grabbing it on DVD over at Amazon or downloading it from the PlayStation Store. I'll put a link in the description below. Spoilers, obviously. We're introduced to our main cast of characters, Kazuma Kiryu and Haruka, Satoru and Yui, bank robbers Imanashi and Nakanishi, and the police, Detective Date, Park, and finally Majima Goro. Kiryu and Haruka are just thrown together with no explanation. We never actually find out why Haruka trusts Kiryu or thinks he can help her at all. For all she knows, he's just as bad as the other Yakuza on the streets of Kamurocho and would just as easily sell her for a boss coffee and a shot at the UFO catcher. Kiryu is stoic, which works in his favour to match his in-game persona, but leaves the character flat. Haruka, on the other hand, actually seems to have a strong personality and can hold her own, which makes a nice contrast to Kiryu. Satoru and Yui are completely hare-headed and their motivations are not revealed until the end of the film. They go from, wow, criminals are scary, to, let's commit petty crimes, to, let's buy a gun, with no real reasoning. They never interact with the main plot of the film and are only there to, wait, why are they here? Detective Date is presented as a deeper character with actual personal problems. His life is a mess and he can't catch a break. His problems are never resolved. Park, a man of few words, is shown to be a silent badass. His life as an assassin barely mentioned. As a guest of Kazuma, the currently missing Tojo clan leader, he seems to be a big deal. If he's here to assassinate Jingu, why is he in Kamurocho? There's no guarantee he'll show up and no one has any information to provide him with. Majima is the only person that has any character. Over the top, flamboyant, and hell-bent on taking down Kiryu, a lot of his motivation seems to be because it's fun. He's the true wild card, but even he himself lives by a code of not hurting kids. He's the main antagonist of the movie, but not actually connected to the villain. The villains of the movie are only introduced in the final act about 20 minutes before the ending. Jingu, a politician that has been passing money through the Tojo clan, and Nishikiyama, who seems to want the money for himself to further his own career. Jingu isn't actually shown doing anything wrong, except maybe getting his pilot totally wasted before taking off and creating Super Monkey Ball Banana Blitz. It's the hottest night of the year, and things keep going from bad to worse, much like the plot of Yakuza Dead Souls. Each set of characters are separated into their own sub-stories that are barely more than superficially interconnected with each other, really only coming together in the last 15 minutes, just like the story of Yakuza Dead Souls. The main plot revolves around the disappearance of the Tojo clan's 10 billion yen. That's about $87 million by today's exchange, or about 60,240,963 plays of the UFO catcher in Club SEGA. A small bank is being robbed by Manzai comedy duo Imanashi and Nakanishi. If you've ever played Haruka's comedy in Yakuza 5, you get the bit. And don't worry, it'll be played out over and over and over again, just in case you forget it. Turns out the bank has no cash, and Detective Date finds out it's because someone's been withdrawing 10 billion yen of the Tojo clan's money from branches all across the city. But wait, isn't Date part of the organized crime division? Why are the robbers even needed? Couldn't we have just cut out this whole scene and started the movie with Date getting a phone call? We're next introduced to Satoru and Yui, who run into Kiryu, giving Yui the idea to steal money from an open cash register. This motivates her to convince Satoru that armed robbery is the next logical step from petty theft, and the two set out on a crime spree. Unhinged Yakuza boss Majima Goro hears Kiryu is out of prison and decides going after him is the only way to cure his boredom. and proceeds to steal the show, proving that no matter what the medium, you just can't outdo Majima's style. He starts a street brawl and tries to track down Kiryu via the information dealer under Beam DVD. Wait, is this supposed to be Kage? Man, he really let Purgatory fall apart. Kiryu and Haruka are wandering the streets of Kamurocho, hoping to stumble upon a clue to track down Haruka's long-lost mother Mitsuki. It's like Miike saw the Haruka Trust segments and said, yes, this is it, this is the plot. It's never revealed how they ended up together or why Kiryu even cares. Date shows up and says hi, then leaves. For some reason they head to Host Club Stardust to find out no one's seen Mitsuki for a month. And this is one of the bigger problems with the film. Important information is left completely off screen. Why are Kiryu and Haruka together? Why did Kiryu check Stardust for Mitsuki? How did Date know Kiryu was hanging out in a children's park? How does Date find out Kazuma's even missing? Satoru and Yui rob a pawn shop and leave with a ton of cash. Yui steals a bottle of perfume and after drenching herself in it, trying to cover up her own guilt, decide that the next step should be to buy a gun, one of the most easily acquirable items in all of Japan. After striking out at Stardust, Haruka reveals that she knows Yumi, Mitsuki's sister, and that she works at the bar Serena. A fact that she could have brought up at any time, but decided that it wasn't relevant. Seriously kid, how did you even get to Tokyo? Did you just get into a cab and hope for the best? Kiryu and Haruka get to Serena only to find the place ransacked and Mitsuki missing. Another dead end. How was the plot supposed to advance? They only had 2 leads and they missed the mark on both. Much like this guy. Majima learns from Kage that Kiryu is indeed back in the city and the Nishikiyama family is looking for him. But wait, isn't that the exact same information Majima's henchman gave him earlier? Did we really need a 2-minute long BDSM scene? I know what you're thinking. Why does Majima care what happens to Kiryu? He's not actually part of the main plot involving the 10 billion yen. He even tells Kiryu he doesn't care, so I have no idea. Park is revealed to be a Korean assassin sent by Seoul to investigate and murder Jingu before he can use the 10 billion yen. He buys a sniper rifle and just hangs out for the rest of the movie, messing with people's satellite TV. Park saves Satoru and Yui from a gang of Yakuza thugs, but this doesn't actually cross over to the main plot, nor does it save Yui from getting shot. Her sordid past is revealed and turns out she owed a loan shark a bunch of cash and they get kinda mad when you don't pay them back. Luckily, buying a gun was the quickest form of debt repayment, just like in real life. Out of nowhere, Date runs into a nondescript building and 3 gunshots go off. Wait, why? Kiryu and Haruka have completely run out of ideas and go to talk to Kage under Beam, who sends them over to the soapland Togenkyo to find Yumi. In a surprisingly indirect approach, Majima set a trap for them. Kiryu murders 10 of Majima's men and the 2 face off for the last time. Somehow, even though Kiryu has won every other time before, Majima gets the upper hand, but before he can finish the job he's shot by Kazuma. Luckily, the leader of the Tojo clan was just rescued by Date. Wait, no one's seen this guy for days and within a few hours Date manages to find and rescue him. How did he know where he was being held? How did he know Kiryu was at the soapland? How did he know where Kiryu and Haruka were when he met with them earlier, even though Majima was wandering the streets all night? Is Date part Basset Hound? Kazuma tells Kiryu to head to the Millennium Tower where Haruka's mother is waiting, along with the 10 billion yen, Jingu and Nishiki. The stage is set for their final showdown, but as soon as they leave the Togenkyo, Kiryu is shot and Haruka is kidnapped. Kiryu visits a random pharmacist we've never met before that patches him up while the shot lingers way too long on the Staminan display. I'd say it's product placement if Staminan actually existed, but why doesn't Kiryu just drink one now? Or take a whole bunch? I'm sure he could build a Tojo clan. Kiryu limps to the top of the Millennium Tower to face off with Nishiki, who's just hanging out waiting for him. Kiryu is so messed up he can barely walk, and we already saw before Kiryu was shot that Nishiki had made it to the top of the tower. So what was he doing the whole time? He could have confronted Yumi, or prepared some kind of defense for when Jingu arrives. What was the plan here? I'm gonna wait around until Kiryu gets here even though my men said they shot him and he's probably dead? Nishiki manages to down Kiryu, sending his men in for the kill, but not before Kiryu has a chance to drink the Staminan Spark, completely replenishing his health and heat, which are apparently real things in this world, causing his shoulders to burst into blue flames. Kiryu defeats all of Nishiki's men in one mega combo heat action, and Nishiki goes down in about 30 seconds. One hell of an anticlimactic final boss. Yumi shows up out of nowhere and reveals her plan to blow up the 10 billion yen and Jingu at the same time using a remote detonator with a range of about 3 feet. Seriously, why not take some of that money and spring for something that takes you out of the blast zone? Jingu's helicopter comes into land and Park takes an amazing shot, hitting Jingu in the head, killing him and Sega's Kenzen localization plans. After finally reuniting with Haruka, Yumi sets her bomb off and double kills Jingu. So even though we had to follow Park through this whole movie, in the end Jingu still gets blown up. What was the point of Park's storyline if Jingu was just going to die anyway? The top floor of the Millennium Tower is destroyed, Yumi's dead, Nishiki and all of his men are presumably dead, Yui's dead, the robbers are caught, Majima crawls back to his hideout, money flies everywhere, Akiyama picks up wads of cash off the street, Date's still miserable, Kiryu and Haruka have a moment, and then the movie ends. So yeah, the plot is a huge winding mess and we could cut out at least 4 major characters and it would still reach the same conclusion. We're given 5 protagonists and only one actually has a clear objective, which is Haruka's search for her mother. No one seems to actually care about the 10 billion yen and Satoru and Yui aren't even aware it exists. Individually and given more time, each character could have starred in their own movie that might have actually been interesting, but running all the plots concurrently leaves no time to explore motivations. Jingu is introduced partway through the film, but would technically be the victim of the story since his money was stolen and he was assassinated without ever seeing it coming. None of the characters ever even meet Jingu face to face, with him only being this looming threat that has no payoff. Nishikiyama is also presented as a villain, but he's only introduced 3/4 of the way through the movie and has a shorter fight scene with Kiryu than any of the 3 Majima appears in. Characters are given no room to grow and each story doesn't become clear until 5 minutes before they're wrapped up. It's not full of clever twists or surprises, there's just no driving force to any of them. The one thing the movie does nail though, is the product tie-ins. Overall, fans of the game are going to be left disappointed, and anyone being introduced to the series is going to be let down by the disjointed plot and weak characters. Yakuza deserves better than this, and not even Miike could save it. But if you want to turn off your brain and watch some pretty good action, just skipping to every scene with Majima is worth it, even if his eye patch is on the wrong eye. If you've got anything to add that I missed, please let me know in the comments below. If you like what we're doing here and want to see more, please like and subscribe, or consider throwing us a couple of bucks over on Patreon. Catch you guys next time.